I'm Katrina and this is Sew and Tare, and today we're going to make this tree into this tree. We're going to be grafting onto this nectarine. Now this nectarine is a Snow Queen nectarine. That's the variety. It is a really tasty variety when it produces well. However, it hardly ever produces well. So I'm going to put this on here. This is called Silk Road nectarine, and it is the best nectarine out there. So what do you want to concentrate on when you graft something onto a tree? One, what variety is it? Is it going to do well in your area? Do you like that variety? And then also, do you care if it's shelf stable or not? The Silk Rose nectarine is not very shelf stable. It's not very counter stable. It's going to be ripened and it's going to be fresh and juicy and yummy, and then it's going to be gone. But the flavor is amazing. So that's what I'm going after, is a flavor, and I know that this is a reliable variety, and I know the person who takes care of this variety. So that's my things. I'm gonna face the other way because the sun is getting the camera. All right, so what else do you need to know? You need to know that the timing is right. Depending on where you live, that's going to be different times of the in the calendar year. It's going to be spring though. So spring is right before the buds break, right when they're just starting to, want to pop out. That's when the right time is to graft. Now, can you be successful grafting in other times of year, or if you've missed it, like I have most of this year? Now, luckily, the tree that I'm wanting to graft, this is the only tree I really wanted to graft this year. The other trees I want to graft and get done, but it's not as important because this nectarine just hasn't been giving the amount of fruit that I want, and when it does, it hardly ever does well. When it does really well, it's really good. But right now this tree, it's starting to flower. It has a little bit of leaves up at the top, but it's not leafed out yet. It's not doesn't have all the flowers yet, so it's okay to cut it back, and now's a good time for that one. I have another one in the front that I'm going to be working on, but that's not the right timing because it's already fully leafed out. I'm going to do it anyway, but what I'm going to show you is the right way. So these are the scions. These are pretty big. Now if you missed the video on how to cut and store your scions, I'll put a link up here and you can watch that video first. It's a little late to do it now, a little bit. I mean, you can cut one fresh if it might work, is what I'm saying. But right now, I'm going to be using these. Now these already have these buds, and I can, those will grow back. So don't worry about that. And the materials that I'm going to use is a grafting knife, and so this is the one that I have. There are many different kinds out there. Basically you just need to make sure that only one side is beveled. So on my knife, this side has a bevel, this side is completely flat. So that's I don't even know if that picks up on the video or not. This one also happens to come with a little copper guy. Now copper is really good against fungus and infections and stuff like that. So if you need to put it down into the bark, then this is a good thing to kind of pry with, because it's copper and it's not going to spread stuff. But you need this, and I use this. You can use Lysol, you can use an alcohol, you can use whatever you want for sterilizing your knives. But it's a good idea between each tree to sterilize it. So I literally just spray it. I try and avoid the crack, and let that sit for a little bit and wipe it off. You can rinse it, you can not, and that's what I do. So next one You can use something as simple as masking tape. I happen to have buddy tape. It's something you can get online, and it's designed for grafting. I think I showed you guys this in the, it just has dust on it. I think I showed you guys this in the scion video. Let me find the end. And really what you're trying to do, really what you're aiming to do when you graft and when you wrap something is to keep the moisture in. Now, if you have a stick, it's generally going to keep enough moisture in just on by the bark. So you just need to do the top and then where the joint is. But you can also use this and wrap the whole stick, and that will keep in the moisture even more and keep out bad stuff even more. So there you go. So this is the buddy tape. It has it's pre-perforated. You can use paraffin. You can use, like I said, you can use masking tape is fine. I have this, so I'm going to use it. So why I'm going to use it is it'll keep in the moisture, and you can see how much it'll stretch, and you can use that to wrap and close the graft. So that's what that's used for. Now I'm going to not use this piece. Alright, so the next thing is when you're grafting, so you can see these are already cut, and you can see there's the wood and there's the bark. There's a little tiny layer in between the wood and the bark. It's the cambium. That's the growing part of the tree, and that is the part that needs to match up. So you can have a larger scion than the stick you're putting it on, or you can have a smaller scion to the stick that you're putting it on. In my case, these are going to be smaller than what I'm putting it on because it's a mature tree. So as long as the cambium lines up, you're good. Now, does it have to be the same size? No, it only has to line up on the outside. So this could be on the outside, this could be on the inside, and that's what needs to line up. So something to think about when doing that is when you put things together, if you kind of kink it just a little bit, you know that you cross those cells, then you know you get contact. If you try and match it up exactly, it could work and it could not work. So it's good to cross it just a little bit. And I know I'm not explaining this thoroughly. There are in-person classes that I recommend you taking with people that are orchardists. That I highly recommend doing that, and they will go through the entire what needs to be done, why it needs to be done, and all of that. And they can also kind of evaluate you and your hands-on experience. So like a couple months ago now, I think, I went to a California Rare Fruit Growers workshop like what I'm telling you, and we cut scions, or we cut the scion to make a graft. Like we cut that point on just some scrap wood, and by scrap wood I mean scrap little branches, and we were doing that for 45 minutes. Everybody was not bored. Okay, we were all learning how to do it better. We were all learning how to do it in a way that makes sense, giving it the longest, giving it a long area, a bigger area for the cambium to line up, and all that. So hands-on experience and hands-on practice is what you need, and I am by no means an expert in this. However, I do know how to do it, and it really is as simple as lining up the cambium. Every graft I've done have taken, and then the ones I did on the quince died because I did it down low. And so basically, you don't really want to put a graft on an existing tree down low. You want to put it towards the upper part, because that's where the energy is going. So I hope that makes sense. I was so excited that they took, and then they died. I'm like, oh, you're not spending energy on that. I see. So here we go. First things first, I need to cut down the branches I need cut. I might use this, I might use some loppers as well. We'll see. Huh? I just cut myself the back of the saw.
Oh.
We need to not cut this, but this needs to be cut, and this needs to be cut at the same level.
Yeah.
Is it okay? Just step over it. I cut myself with the back side of the saw. How talented are you? Okay, now I'm going to see how this works with this. Might not be big enough. I've never grafted onto something this large. It's usually similar size to my Scion, so we'll see how this works. I'll try and show you guys this up close, but basically what I did is I put this in to the cambium layer, and I'm going to cut the Scion a little bit differently. Okay guys, this is officially experimental. So I have my Silk Road Nectarine Scions here, and what I'm wanting is like 2 to 3 buds on the Scion, because I want one of them to break out and become the new branch. So that's what my aim is. Now I'm going to do long pieces, and I have 2 of the Silk Road branches, but you can see they've 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I would say 7. I mean, there's some down here, but it's kind of, you can see that line right there. That's a difference in year. So this is new wood, this is old wood. So I could get a few out of these, but I'm probably only going to get 2 and 2 just because of the way I'm going to do this. So maybe I should practice first. All right. So this is just a stick that I just, from the tree that I just cut off. You could use this as a Scion if you wanted to at this point, but yeah. So basically what you want to do is take this, not like this, but like this, and that'll cut a nice long strip. And for myself, I'm right-handed. Grafting knives are going to be right-handed unless you're lucky and find one that's left-handed. So when they're right-handed, you want to point the sharpness away, going that way, and go that way. Now you can hold this hand still and move this, or you can move both of them, but you don't want to be straight up and down. It's a better cut if you go with an angle. So I'm going to try this. Okay, there's an okay bun. That's good. And what I was going to do is do this and then do it on the other side. It's a little sharp, so it could be longer, but that will work. But what I'm doing now is I want to do a longer piece, I believe. Again, this is new territory for me, this part of it. The goal in the end is for the cambium to line up. So I think I need a more shallow cut. That's too shallow. This is what I mean by practice a lot. So that one's not bad. And then I believe do a super shallow cut on the other side is what I was shown. I don't remember the name of that one. That's what I'm going to try. So the goal for that will be to put this in between the bark and the tree and in that cambium layer, and hope that these and the one on the back, that they somewhere hit that cambium layer. So I'm going to go ahead and try it. This is my first time doing this kind, so here we go. So not great, but not too bad. It's a little. But I'm gonna just barely cut the back of this. Barely cut the back of this. So that's the cambium layer right there. So let's see if this works. This is my first time doing this kind, and try not to touch the cut. So I'm going to go back in with my copper and kind of wiggle it around a little bit, and then hopefully it will fit in. Okay, I'm going to try and show this to you. So here's my little copper doodah. I already went in right here to kind of get in there, wiggle. And we're going to put this in like that. And might be a little bit long. Let's see. Well, that's as far as it's going to go in. I hope this works. So you might ask, should I put another one over here? The answer is likely going to be no, because these branches are going to get just as big as this eventually. So probably not a good idea. But I do have a bud over here and a bud up here on this. I've left 2 buds. Hopefully it'll work. Alright, I don't know how well you guys can see this, but I have one of these buddy tapes. I'm going to tape the entire thing. So this is what it ends up looking like. With the stick, it's fully covered. That's a scion. And then this is also fully covered. And that should last long enough for the tree to heal. I'm going to do this for all the other ones and come back. And I'm just going to put this into here. It's splitting the bark a little. So it did split the back. Sorry, my battery died. It did split the back a little bit. But that should be okay because... Okay, there we go. My battery died, I'm sorry. That did split the bark a little bit, but that should be okay because the cambium of that bark and the cambium that I've exposed on the scion should line up well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this buddy tape and wrap it around. And use this buddy tape and wrap it around, and I'll show you that after I do it because my camera battery died. Alright, so you can see I have the buddy tape around the bottom. Now I'm going to cover the scion and this upper end. Okay, there's the final product. All wrapped up, ready to grow. Now, there's a bud right here. There's a bud right here. And there's a bud right here. So right there and right there that have a chance to grow. So 3 on, 2 more to go. So one last thing to note, our grafts are up here, that's what we want to grow. So any green below, like this, needs to be pinched off. So watch for those to grow while this is starting to grow, and pinch off anything below these grafts. Alright, so there we go. We have our Snow Queen nectarine over-grafted with the silver... Parmesan's excited. We have our Snow Queen nectarine over-grafted with the Silk Road nectarine. So wish me luck on these grafts taking. I've never grafted this way before, and again, I'm not a master grafter, but because this didn't go according to plan, I'm going to show you a couple of ways of grafting that I have done in the past that have been successful, and that way you'll at least have something to go from. All the grafting I have to do, I think, is going to be stuff like this. So I'm going to do a pretend graft for you guys. Alright guys, I just grabbed some twigs off of what I just cut off, and I'm going to pretend that one is a scion and one is a tree and show you how to do a couple different grafts that I have done successfully. This one that I just showed is my first time doing, so I believe it's going to work. I don't know. But I'm going to show you guys 2 different types. I'll put the names up here because I'm not actually sure what the names. I know one is whip and tongue. The other one I think is a cleft. Is that right? If it's not right, I'll put it up on the screen. Again, I'm just deciding that one of these is the tree, and one of these sides is the tree, one of these sides is a scion. Okay, so one is just to do this, and just like we did before, and to do a cut. And these fit together perfectly because it came from the same twig, but they fit together. They might be imperfect, right? So if it's imperfect, all you have to do is line up this outside. So let's say that this one's smaller. You can cheat over to one side and line it up, and then if you kind of kink it just a little bit, you'll get some crossing. So you'll make sure that this and this cross. Obviously, we're not going to do it like this, but that'll provide some crossing. So this is a whip, and you can do these two pieces. You can put it together and masking tape it or buddy tape it, and it'll be fine. If you're concerned about stability, or if you just want a better potential for grafting, you can add a tongue. So it's a whip and tongue. And how you do that is you use a knife very carefully. I'm gonna hold this hand still and move the branch of the stick, okay, if possible. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna cut straight down, as straight as you can, okay, but you're gonna move the branch and not cut yourself. And that has a little bit of a in there, and see if you guys can see that. Then you line up the other side and say, oh, where did I do that? Okay, I did it here. I'm gonna do it right here. And cut it in the same place on this side, okay? Again, we don't want to slip. We want to move, we want to hold this one still, and don't like press on it. If you need to wiggle back and forth, and you should not be in any danger of cutting yourself. Okay, once that has completed, you put these two together, and they should this one might need some prying. When they're not from the same stick, they might stick out a little more. So you have that much here, and ooh, I just split that way too far. So don't do that. But it does allow us to put it together, and you can put it together and then wrap this. Okay, you can wrap that. That's whip and tongue, and I'm sorry I broke this one. So whip and tongue, and then another one is I think it's called a cleft graft. I'll put corrections up here if I'm saying things correctly. So in this case, you are going to go onto a branch that is flat, and let me just cut a. Okay, we're just going to cut like it's cut a scion, right? So, like this. Okay. So, we have one like this, and we have another on the other side. So, there's one there. Just turn it over, do it on the other side. These are a little pointy, but it's okay. And then on the tree part, this is your scion. On the tree part, you, again, don't like go like this with your knife. Work it towards the knife. You can work back and forth towards the knife without danger of getting yourself. Now you might split it. Hopefully you don't split it very far. But you can see that's split. Okay. This is a little thick. It should be a little thinner than this. but you just put it in, and it should have some shoulders. It should have a little bit extra up here. In fact, let me cut that a little thinner. Alright, so there's a little bit thinner cut. It should be one smooth cut. That's the best. And let's go ahead and put this into the tree. Right, this is the tree, this is the scion. And you literally slide that right in. You can wiggle it down. You don't want to wiggle it so far that it's going to split a lot, but this is the one a lot of nurseries do. Now this is one where let me come closer. Alright, so because I didn't put the same stick in the same place where I cut it, they are a little different sized. And you can see you want to line up the cambium, okay, with there, but you could miss. I mean, it's like a couple cells thick, guys. So it's best if you actually cross it just a little. So if you can see, this is out and this is in a little bit, and then wrap it with your masking tape or with your buddy tape, and that will hold pretty well. This one's used in nurseries a lot. You can see on the grafts that you of trees that you buy, they often will do this one, and then this will heal over and it'll be fine. So thank you for joining me. I hope that you found this informative and enjoyed seeing me go through my problem solving phase. But the short version is the cambium needs to line up. There's ways to make better grafts and have more cambium line up, and there's ways that'll make stronger grafts that way, and then there's ways that will work and it might not be as strong, or it might be as strong. You don't know until you won't know right now as a beginner. So I'm not a master grafter. I have grafted successfully many times, and I hope that this gives you the courage to try. So if you like a tree that is, strong and a good tree, but the fruit's terrible, that's a reason to graft. If, like me, you have a fruit that's wonderful but doesn't perform well, that's another reason to graft. If you can have many different types on the same tree. If you do that, make sure that you know what you're getting into, and that you know that they're going to be competing with each other. So I would not recommend grafting apricot onto anything other than apricot, because it takes over peaches and plums. Its growth, in my experience, its growth is a lot stronger. So that's my advice, and we will follow this nectarine and see how it progresses. It could be a few weeks before we see anything, and hopefully we see something. Hopefully all five. Yeah, I did 5. Hopefully all 5 grafts take. The last one was a little beefy. It was a little big, but hopefully it will take as well. So, and the thing about this is, even if they don't take, that tree is likely going to survive and put out growth somewhere. And if it doesn't take now, we can try it again next year. So experiment. Experimentation is super fine to do, especially with things like peaches and nectarines and plums. They're so hardy that they really don't mind getting cut back really hard. So I hope that you had a good time. You know how to graft now, and at least the principles behind them, and have the courage to try. So one thing to mention is this is for grafting trees that go dormant in the winter. Green grafting for citrus and avocados and all of that is is different, and I have not done that. So if I learn how to do that, I'll share that with you guys. But in the meantime, this is just for the peaches, the plums, nectarines, apples, everything that goes dormant in the winter. So thank you for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I look forward to hearing your stories about grafting. And if you have any stories about grafting, I'd love to read them in the comments below. So share this with a friend who might be iffy about grafting. Share this with a friend who wants to graft. Share this with people who don't even know what grafting is and they need to know what it is. Because we need to know all these things, right? All right. If you like the video, please do a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe and hit the bell notification to get all the content, because they don't give you all the content without hitting that bell. All right, guys, have a wonderful day, and thank you for watching.